everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Executive Excellence Forum's live podcast on LinkedIn, episode 102. Today's topic of discussion is navigating with the Metaverse leadership strategies for the future. We have Mr. Ajay Nair, who's a leader stalwart for smart city, mobility, fintech, digital twin transformation, metaverse management, part of a task force management and standards and compliance committee. Without further ado, let's bring in Mr. Ajay on to the platform. Hi, Ajay, good
Hey,
afternoon.
hi. Hi, Prem.
Hi.
Good afternoon, Prem. Yeah, how are you?
Ajay, you would like to run the presentation first, is what I understand, Ajay. So let's go out with your
Yeah,
presentation.
yeah, yeah,
Sure,
please. Yeah, yeah.
I'm bringing up your presentation. Yes, Ajay. Over to you.
Hi. Thanks, Prem. I think it's a wonderful uh, kind of a event you have gathered for the industry people and the leaders and the people who are working professionals who are working in this area of metaverse. My discussion today probably will be in two parts. I'm going to cover some of the thought process in terms of a slide set. And once I cover the key points which I want to say, then we will get into maybe a question and answer session, which Prem will probably kindly don't put me in a trouble. But once you start the question and answers, we can go through the interactive discussion after that.
Sure,
So,
Ajay.
thank you. Yeah, without delay, I would say my premise of working in the metaverse is actually quite old. Maybe I started way back in early 2000s when I started working in AR, VR technology for city related, infrastructure related portfolios in Singapore. And probably I was talking to Prem in the morning and then say, I'm probably the very first one to do a AR VR system for a city related, infrastructure related project in entire Asia. Over the web, combining 3D real, high resolution 3D data plus enterprise information, unstructured data, things like that in Singapore, and it is still live in Singapore. So from then, my journey has been into 3D related platforms and technology. Since about 2 3 years, I am part of the Metaverse Standards Forum, which Prem just explained that. A lot of discussions are going on. My topic today will cover the following 7 areas. I will introduce the entire platform related key points in the beginning. I will probably talk about the metaverse as it is being applied into a domain and how we are going to deal with that metaverse applications in that. Also look at technologies, underlying data, underlying uh, pipelines of integration, things like that. I will look into that. We are talking about leadership. Definitely I have to say something about management. It comes from my own background in enterprise system development. I also have been a venture into business development. I was a CTO in one of the city agency in Florida, so I know a lot of this KPI related pain points and the kind of vision and transformation which we need to do as a management community. I will look into content governance actually. Whenever we talk about metaverse, we cannot just say that I'm going to deliver and keep delivering and then we don't need to know anything about governance. Governance is a very key aspect of the metaverse, unlike many other platform actually, unlike many other solutions. After you think about all these key points, we will probably look at very few selected use cases wherein we can say metaverse when it gets applied to mechanical engineering or industrial metaverse, or whether we transportation. What are we talking about actually? How do we take this entire platform into the production mode, and then what we need to think about in terms of customer journey and finance, things like that. The last part will be just looking at future outlook, the thing. I start with basically a definition. Actually, whenever we talk about metaverse, there are several definitions coming on board. But one thing which I liked out of all this is about metaverse definition came into an article defining metaverse today by Mrs. Kathy in the Forbes. It talks about metaverse basically in terms of basic minimum terms involved in actually meta plus verse. Meta is talking about anything beyond. That means which I don't see or which I have been not experienced. It may not be even existing in the universe. Actually, that is about meta. There is also another term meaning for meta means information about information. Actually, that is a layer of information which talks about the data underlying. So that is another way of looking at it as meta. Then verse is basically a extension of universe. Actually, a universe probably of today what you are familiar, probably a universe which you are not familiar. Actually, but whatever it is, a universe. That is how we put together this metaverse as a term. When it gets applied, there are so many things which we need to consider. There are two basic domains which we need to know. Whenever we talk about metaverse, there is a physical entity, whether it is um, that is I am familiar in my home, it can be in the office, it can be in the marketplace, it can be in the city. There is a physical space. We are trying to take this physical space and conditions, the sound bites, the environmental conditions, everything put together. How do we transfer that entire uh, so-called context into a digital format? Actually, we can enable all those things, but several sensory capabilities which human beings have or animals have or plant species have, some of the sensory capabilities we cannot bring into digital world. There are limitations, which is understood. Actually, we have been experimenting with a lot of digital content in the past, starting from your small hardwares which was in your computer room to your handphones, your wearables. Whenever we take a content from real world into digital world, there are limitations actually. But the premise is actually we have to think in terms of how it get applied. Actually, what are the things we need to do? All the standard features which you put into a data content, actually security, the communication layer, uh, in terms of the behavior interactions, the activities, and immersive features which we need to bring, these are all we need to worry about whenever we bring it up into a digital world. Actually, in the metaverse application currently, if you look at it, there is a growth curve. You can look at it, there are opportunities in the market. uh, we are talking about construction, of a metaverse content, designing of it, the deliverability of the digital content into the metaverse platform, the operations management, the performance KPI, the finance, and the kind of Bitcoin kind of virtual monetization. All these things are part of the opportunity. Actually, we need to think in terms of how we take this opportunity and then convert it into individual market space and make a meaningful contribution to that segment. Actually, that's where the opportunity is. The market is very growing. I will probably look at the hype curve uh, in a few slides later. That's, if you look at the opportunity and the market, that's when all of our discussion happening. Actually, how do we manage it? Actually, because this is a business opportunity. It is not just we are going to create a movie or we are going to create a game and then we leave it out. Actually, we can take this entire delivery platform and manage it on a continuous basis. It's not that we just deliver and go back. It's not a product which we deliver and go back. We can continuously keep delivering on the platform and then make a relationship with the customer, and then we can market it and then monetize it also. So that's where this entire platform become meaningful. Like in the real world to metaverse transformation, we are talking about basically every object. whichever object virtually we can convert into, some of the objects may not be even existing actually, because if you look at the current level of generative AI, you can generate images, videos regarding maybe something in the Mars, something maybe in the moon's platform, actually atmosphere, which nobody have been actually. You can create such objects and then put it into a metaverse platform and deliver it actually. So then we talking about experience. Whenever we create a content, people are going to immerse into the content in a 3D format from diverse locations in hundreds of volume actually, in terms of customer volume, and they are going to experience it. And every moment in that platform we can measure it, how many times he visited this metaverse content, what is their kind of experience rating they have, whether they go to every part of the metaverse environment which I deliver. Everything KPIs can be measured, the experience can be measured. That will give you an auditable data to understand that how did this large volume of people who are coming into metaverse, how did they go through the entire product line and service line, and what can we learn from their experience. The visioning part is another part. Uh, Whenever we talk about metaverse immersive features, we are talking about wearable goggles, Apple Vision or any other goggles which you can wear it and then immerse into the content. So the vision part of the objects is a very important feature of the metaverse. Unlike many other web content or even web3 content, metaverse is highly 3D oriented kind of content delivery. So visioning and visualization is a very important part of the delivery of metaverse. The immersive part is, uh, unlike any other digital content, in metaverse people can go inside any room, any facility, any object, any planet actually, anywhere. If you create a metaverse kind of a space, you can get inside and navigate inside. Like, so the immersive part of the uh, objects are very important for metaverse. So transition of any real world content into metaverse, we have to talk of that actually. So basically, now you understand there is a division actually, the kind of metaverse virtual world we are creating and the real world. This is where we need to understand what is possible, what are the limitations, and what are the opportunities actually. In the real world, I am here in London, in UK, whereas Prem is in Bangalore. But we cannot go to Tokyo, or maybe go to New York, or maybe go to Delhi together at the same time actually. Physically it's not possible, so that is a limitation. I cannot listen to maybe swearing in ceremony of the next government in Delhi uh, physically there actually, because I'm here in London. I cannot go there. Prem may have to travel to go there to attend that actually. So you see this limitation of physical entities are a problem actually. It's a challenge. In the virtual world, in metaverse, that limitation is no more there. You can go to Delhi, you can go to Tokyo, you can go to any cities and any uh, session virtually, and then interact with that actually. That kind of a opportunity has come in because of the metaverse. I'll go to the next part, applied metaverse. Whenever we apply a technology and try to deliver something, we have to think in terms of how to take this entire data content or material content which we are going to deliver and address a certain market gap. It comes from the last slide which you talked about actually. There are limitations in the physical market, there are limitations in the delivery platform and the reach to the customers. These are the gap which we need to identify for each vertical, whether it is healthcare, whether it is automobile, whether it is education, any sector. We need to identify the gap and then start delivering that applications for that. So each market segment we need to have an analysis of that opportunity. Then we create value. Value means measurable value. We can come up with certain KPIs and make sure that we have proper process flow, business workflows, budgets, delivery KPIs. All these things you can think about in terms of delivery for each market and say, this is how we are going to create value. Then you talk about finance and monetization. If you don't have money, this entire metaverse discussion is not going to grow. It's going to die actually. The current discussion about entire metaverse platform and technology discussions we are having for each market verticals, it can be a hype for some time, but if it doesn't make money, it doesn't have a customer base, it's going to die away actually. So that's where it comes in terms of accelerating the adaptation. I had several discussions regarding adaptation. That's where the challenge is coming. Why the challenge is, we have some problem of whenever we create a metaverse content, are we creating a unique product line actually? Are we creating a unique experience? Are we creating the consumer centric, people centric services actually? This is where the product will become a sellable, profitable service into the market. Again, when you create a product line, we also have to think in terms of, are we the first one to market? Because early you launch a product into the market, you get to know how the customer is behaving. What is their experience? Are they doing good? Do they need any help? So all this customer experience related, uh, ROI related information can be measured, analyzed only when you start marketing into the product and understand what is the response coming back actually. Once you get that knowledge, then you can start making the product and service into a reliable product. That means you can always trust that this product line is going to help me to do my maybe remote surgery, or it may be going to help me selling more cars into the market. This reliability trust will come only when you are able to gain some knowledge about the customer behavior and experience. Once you go through all this process, the last one is to make it authentic branding, having recognizable product line. All these things will come at that point. That's how the creating the market opportunity. I did study regarding the possibility of the metaverse content in terms of the market capitalization. What is the capex? What is all operational cost involved in it? Several numbers are available. I can go one by one actually. In terms of the global market, the impact of digital metaverse content delivery, it can go into something like 1.7 trillion to 5 trillion globally, in different market verticals, in the coming 10, 15, 20 years time actually. So there is a big amount of market every vertical is going to go through, and there is a journey we are going to watch on it actually. In terms of the, I've been watching the market in China. If you look at the slide below, they are talking about in another 2030, that is this decade actually, they are talking about 500 billion. It is a very wild number. Somebody is just trying to put a dot and say that this is the number I want to achieve. That's how China talk about actually in their one of their survey. It is a comprehensive survey recently they completed, and they are talking about that kind of a number. I don't believe that domestically it's not possible. It could be a global export market they are talking about, but these are the numbers in terms of digital delivery they are talking about. But the key point I'm emphasizing is, which market are we going to go into actually? Where does, like in India, we are a tech giant in the global market. We have a lot of IT companies. People are content creators are available. Very creative people are available. We have Bollywood or Mollywood. A lot of these creative people are available. We put everything together. Which market are we supposed to focus actually? Where can we have an early lead on it? So I looked at it. The way I say is actually digital education, healthcare, transportation, industrial metaverse. These are the two, three areas where the global investment is coming in, and there is a potential to grow actually. I'm quickly going into some quick examples. I may not run everything, but these are the four cases. This is a real estate case. I created it from my own. It's a landscape. You can get into the landscape. I have a property available for some media session, I can go into the media session. So this is a website, live website I am running. You can go there. You can turn off the screen. You can turn on the screen virtually at any point of time. You can you can actually interact. You can probably say that I liked it, but the point is taking this kind of a delivery mechanism and sell 100 houses. How do I go and sell this real estate property in Bombay or Delhi, or how do I make money out of it actually? So the virtualization of physical spaces in real estate for marketing, Metaverse is the probably the best meta platform available in the globe. The second example is on infrastructure. We have a lot of underground pipeline, electricity, water, drainage, lot of this infrastructure we have it, but all the digitized data of the public services are all in paper or in digital data in some database. When I go to the ground on a road, I do not know whether there is a pipeline which is going under me actually, whether there is a drainage line going under me. With metaverse and AR technology, I can go to any ground and simultaneously see what is below my feet actually. So this is very helpful in terms of not only navigating the data on the ground but also monitoring my activity, inspection activity from my centralized office. Is if I have Bangalore Municipal Corporation, they wanted to see how many inspections are going on in the city, what is the kind of experience they have, can they see the data on the ground as well as mark their defect on the pipe or mark their defect on the electrical post. Whatever you wanted to monitor, you can monitor and collect the data at the same time. That's where the metaverse will make a lot of impact in the construction industry. He is inspecting a electrical duct box, and it can be a traffic signal or anything actually. You can go inside the box and then inspect it, send the report, and then close it out. Don't need to go to back to office. This kind of data can happen virtually from metaverse to a centralized crew. Even the crew can be on the field actually, and they can still get the data. Another example, the last example, is on mobility. This is a Seoul in Korea. They try to monitor the traffic in a multimodal station where trains and buses and taxis are all plying, and the passengers who are coming into the entire facility, the multimodal uh, center, can be monitored in terms of their density, the timeline, the kind of the flow pattern, everything within that building and facility they can monitor and virtually interact with that actually. That means I can give certain platforms onto the screen inside the building for people to find out that okay, I want to go to this station. Did the train come actually? Are the train coming in 10 minutes, 5 minutes? How many people are going to board? Is there any delay in boarding? Any kind of data I can go and immerse from anywhere actually, within the building or even outside the building. You can get in. You can sit at your taxi stand. It can be in your car. You can monitor the data from anywhere. That's that kind of technology are we talking actually. I will quickly say a couple of things regarding what is the production line actually in terms of metaverse delivery. You just need to have an idea. We don't need to have wonderful scientists sitting around data creation, data scientist, or any other people trying to identify this is the kind of content I'm going to create. Actually, it can be any idea. Once you have the theme and a topic ready, you just need to script it out. You need to have a storyboard. Then you start simulate the entire space. We call it metaverse uh, space actually. So once you create the space, you can start creating a delivery content and then put it into production. You once you are into production, You just need to have an animation and simulation features for immersive capabilities, and the system can be released actually. This is when you talk about delivery, we talk about quality a lot actually, because unlike movies or video with a coarse content resolution, whenever we deliver something in metaverse, if you don't have a good quality digital space and digital content coming into the space, people will immediately leave the space, because I can navigate and go out of the space. Why do I need to be there actually? Because it's almost like a video game. You can be in the space, you can just leave the space also. So you need to have good resolution data to go inside. I will quickly say there is an open USD, that is universal scene definition. That is a standard which is propelling the adaptation of the metaverse. The companies like Apple, Pixar, Nvidia, Autodesk, every leading companies in this space are part of this metaverse journey. In fact, I am in the like Prem just in the introduction talked about it. I am in the Metaverse Standards Forum. All these companies are in the forum as principals or the members of several committees, and they are talking about how to take this content and make a meaningful addition to individual markets, whether it is healthcare, whether it is mobility. They are talking about how to make meaningful, valuable product and services on metaverse actually. So it's a very meaningful discussion going on around the metaverse delivery. A lot of applications are coming up. We are testing. For example, last week we talked about, everybody know what PDF documents. Actually, I can create a Word, Excel, any document into a PDF and deliver it. Can we deliver a PDF with a drawing of your house and give it to somebody and they can navigate in 3D on PDF actually? It is possible. It is already developed with a technology called GTLF. It's already tested now. So every product line, we are talking about taking the content and making it available to the customer in whichever platform and possible. It can be on a Word document. You can have a diagram on your Word document and you will be able to navigate inside the Word document without leaving anywhere and understand whether it is a glass or whether it is a house or whether it is an automobile. Without leaving your platform, you will be able to experience about that actually. The OpenUSD technology, it's mainly coming from companies like Adobe and Autodesk. They are trying to develop the entire digital media pipeline from conceptualization to delivery and the operations and maintenance. The entire pipeline is now getting ready for deployment. Whenever we start talking about deployment, we are talking about some kind of a framework to reach the customer, make sure that they are using the content which we deliver, the kind of the services we wanted to provide to the customer. We are able to make activities around that space we delivered, then engage with them actually, convert the customer who are coming into the platform as a regular customer. They can revisit any point of time, engage with them on a continuous basis. Whenever we say continuous basis, in the past, whenever we create a movie, for example, or create a game and deliver it to the market, we were not able to make sure that they are being used, and we are able to measure, we are able to continuously modify the content and deliver it actually. Whereas in this metaverse related technology, we are able to do something like CI/CD, which is the continuous integration and continuous delivery. That kind of a pipeline is possible. That means we can take this entire metaverse content, put it into Google Cloud Platform (GCP). It can be on a Amazon Web Services platform, or it can be a Microsoft Azure platform. Actually, any cloud platform. Once you have the platform, we can define the CI/CD pipeline for delivery, pull the data, whether it is Oracle database or whether it is SQL database, whether it is 3D material, social media material, anything you can take it, put it into this scene and deliver it, and then start monitoring. Lot of the standards behind this technology are already into the creation of the content and standardizing, interoperation. All these things are already happening. Parallelly, discussions are going with the banking sector. That means leading banking institutions are already behind this platform. They are talking in terms of tokenization, asset management, uh, uh, non-fungible NFT tokens, uh, bitcoins, all this related digital transaction technologies. The banking sector stakeholders and partners are discussing about it. Eventually, we will have a common framework wherein any content from any country, whether it is in rupee or whether it is in dollar or any currency value, you will be able to come into the platform, buy an asset, trade it with your own currency, and make money out of it. That's the kind of discussions we are going. Since 2010, there is a lot of individual companies testing within their lab, developing their product line. They're coming up with their own service delivery capabilities into that. And there are discussions going on in terms of having the platform and technology going in an open source model. Not all technologies are in open source mode, but we are pushing companies to come on board to the standards forum and talk about the APIs and data services and things like that, so that someone else can make an additional product and service out of it actually. So you need to have an open framework or interface to do that. That's why this alliance for open USD came in, wherein a lot of the JDF, Joint Development Foundation members are talking about in silos for healthcare or silos for automobile. They are trying to develop and deliver product line on that. I will quickly just go through a couple of slides, not so much. Whenever we talk about any digital service delivery, we have to think in terms of this, six areas actually. Stakeholder means it can be an internal management, or it can be your own staff, or it can be external customer actually. The stakeholder has to be inside this kind of a product line to appreciate, uh, ready to pay, monetize, to have some kind of a metrics, how this can be measured. So the stakeholder engagement is very very important. Without the customer, this platform is not going to go anywhere actually. So that's first thing. The second one is, whenever we talk about an enterprise which is going to focus on metaverse, we need to have a vision. It's not like I just open a physical shop, cloth merchant or a automobile merchant. I just open an office, wait for the customer to come in, and then it will happen. It's not going to happen, because it is a digital data, it is a digital service delivery. If you don't have a vision in terms of transforming your market segment into a digital content delivery on metaverse, and how that entire delivery will make money for you actually, with how do you create a customer, how to retain a customer, how to have a customer relations management uh, implemented on CRM implemented. So all this thinking has to be there actually, part of your enterprise vision. Once you have the vision, you can talk about operations, you can have optimization technologies, how to make the delivery more streamlined. Lot of the framework is also a part of it, because without interfaces, APIs, service delivery platform, kind of cloud based delivery mechanism, without the standards and framework, the system is not going to come into this continuous mode of delivery and changes actually, because it's not a physical product delivery. It's a delivery which you can take any kind of changes at any point of time, anywhere in the world. That's the power of the platform actually. I can create a content in Bangalore, deliver it in 100 cities at the same time, and have hundreds of thousands of customers interacting with the product line actually. So the framework has to be very, very robust. We are talking about online changes into the content, 3D content, or it can be a Oracle data content actually. So that's the kind of power of the framework in Metaverse. I put few points regarding ESG and service quality. Actually, ESG is basically, environmental, social, and governance aspects. Since it is an enterprise kind of a delivery, we had to think in terms of whether we are keeping the performance of the ESG a kind of a maturity level. Actually, these are important for any enterprise. Otherwise, this will probably be a hype, and in few years' time, we may not have a metaverse product delivery. I try to map the entire, traditional to current metaverse related delivery pipeline in that two by two matrix. The There is a problem of siloed kind of content delivery in the past, whether it is in enterprise data or whether it is in cloud based system. There is a silo effect in it. Actually, if you watch any digital content, you can see that. From there, we wanted to transfer the content into a contextual content. Actually, if I'm a physician, if I'm a mechanical engineer, if I'm a truck driver, if I'm a a governing maybe a governance related, management related personality, my context is very very different. Actually, I cannot give a one single product and think that it will be serving everybody. It has to be contextual. That's where the challenge has been in the digital delivery. Another part of the dimension is actually many of the physical space, physical shop we have sometimes a very unreliable way of, like, I can go to a shop and buy something. If I am not happy with the product, what do I do? Actually, I had to go to the post office, I had to find his address, I had to contact the person, then I can say that this is an unreliable product, I'm going to give it back to you. So it's a very cumbersome way of dealing with a product line or a service line actually in the past. From there, we want to make sure that the content is more reliable. Any point I can complain against a metaverse delivery of a service delivery and say that I want to change it actually, or can you give it us? And we are able to make the digital data content changes at the same time parallelly while the live system is running, and deliver it in few minutes time or few seconds time. Actually, that is the kind of power we are talking about metaverse. So the world is going to look very different in the metaverse adaptation. We are talking about a lot of content delivery by different verticals. uh, I just talked about the market gap. We have to think in terms of how we look at the market gap and a continuous cost recovery and a usability. That's the two boxes at the bottom. If you don't have a cost to recovery for this kind of a content delivery, the platform and the services will not have a long-term sustainable business model. I was talking to Prem in the morning. I had a discussion with a big IT company in London. We talked about having a metaverse kind of a platform delivery service in the market. The first question they are talking about: who is the customer? Do they have money? Can they invest few billion actually into that product line? I'm just trying to summarize the discussion. So it's a big concern. I'm not saying anything negative about it, but this is a big concern. Why do I need to come into metaverse and create a product line and a service line and then wait for the customer to come inside? And what do I do with my money actually? Where do I get money? Who is my customer? Because all the customers are virtually sitting in some place. I do not know whether who is going to come in midnight or whether they are going to come in the morning. I have no clue how to create a customer in a metaverse platform. So a lot of ambiguity is there. This kind of platforms need to have a lot of maturity and a CRM in metaverse based CRM to make money out of it. Actually, then usability, continuous monitoring about usage metrics is important to make sure that we are delivering the proper appropriate content. I will get into ethics related some of the concerns we have. I looked at the marketing part of it. The virtual training, e-learning, is the highest 66 percentage correspondence during a recent survey. They said that's where going to be the focus of the customer actually. Second one is an entertainment. Digital workspace is the third one. So the line of product line, you can look at the slide, the chart at the bottom. That's where it is coming. I also quickly looked at some of the delivery in the healthcare. If you look at the problem areas, actually, transportation is a problem. Bangalore is, or Delhi, or wherever in India, if you look at transportation is a problem. Healthcare availability of good surgeon. If I have a medical problem, my I went into an accident, I need to do something about it. Where do I get a surgeon to do my thing? If it is complicated, that surgical capability and the academic background may not be available in Bangalore. He may be sitting in Mumbai or Delhi, or it may not be in India actually. So how do we facilitate it? So healthcare is a immediate problem we can deal with metaverse. I have recently gone through use cases wherein a patient in South America was treated by a London surgeon with a team of surgeons from USA participating virtually at the same time and deliver the surgery in the South American city actually. So it did happen and it can be done actually. And it is all happening in the metaverse related technology. So we have to think in terms of both production line where we can solve problems as well as create a proper market space where we can start making, like any technology, if it doesn't make money, we don't need to discuss more actually. That's my take in that. When we are talking about this opportunity and market, one big thing we need to understand is in terms of the risk management. The content which we are going to deliver, you think about internet as a technology which came in early 90s or late 80s. When it came in, people thought that no, everybody will be able to do whatever they think and you can just put it up there actually. What did we do actually? Now we are talking about uh, GPT or generative AI, wherein I can create my own content just by asking a question. Actually, what are we doing? Actually, we are actually killing the job of the software engineers in India. Who is Metaverse? Uh, what is Metaverse going to do? Is actually exactly we are going to create digital content. We are going to create AI based, even quantum computing based content delivery. Who is going to lose the job actually? People who have been creating the software, people who are writing the software, people who are trying to automate the system, they are going to lose in some percentage. I don't say what percentage, or I'm not a astrologer to predict it, but it's going to happen. That's exactly what the company wanted actually. In the western countries, they are all getting aged. The population trend is that actually India is more younger, whereas in the western countries or in Japan, the average age is going higher and higher. They don't have capabilities and resources to deliver software, automate their system and things like that. So they wanted the generative AI or open AI technologies to come on board so that they can be more productive, continues to be more productive and deliver the content what they want to do actually. So whenever we say this kind of content delivery, we are going to see this kind of trend going up, and it is a risk for any business. It is a risk. The second one is an operational risk actually. Whenever we deliver something to somebody, we are going to have instant gratification community always available. Like something like Modi ji say some statement tomorrow, it's going to be immediately picked up by somebody sitting in another country or another place, and they will start replying back and make it a bad judgment or whatever you can talk about that statement. It is going to happen actually. These are operational risks. In the metaverse space, we are talking about avatars. It's not a human being, or it's not going to be video chatting or things like that, or it's not going to be a session like this. Somebody is going to put up an avatar, a 3D avatar or a 2D avatar, and say that you cannot even know who this guy is actually from in Russia or Japan or any other place. They can just come and say that I'm going to be your customer, I'm going to deal with it, I'm going to buy this asset. So operational risk is very, very high when we talk about digital delivery on metaverse. You need to have proper framework, regulatory framework, compliance framework, auditable data on metaverse. Then only this operational risk will come down. Uh, then the third one is on market risk actually, because when we create a content, it's not going to be within your geography. It's not going to be in your administrative boundary actually. No policeman or a army man can catch this guy. He's going to be a virtual avatar somewhere sitting and trying to do a deal with you. Not today, not tomorrow, maybe next year or in 5 years' time. It's going to be the kind of journey of products and services onto metaverse. And there is a risk in terms of going from one market to another market. How do you regulate it? Same discussion happening in a bitcoins. When it came in as a digital coin, everybody liked it. They thought they can make billions out of it. What did it bring actually? Entire bitcoin platforms crashed down multiple times in the past because regulatory frameworks are not ready for it, banks are not ready for it, the kind of trails of the investors and their assets are not traceable. So a lot of these risks are there in the market. In the assets, digital assets and metaverse, it's going to be a prevalent problem. We need to be aware of it. uh, Security risk is there. We need to have a something like no fake policy. If I create a content inside, it has to be genuine. I have to make sure that the author is traceable, whether they are coming from Pakistan or China or maybe South American country or anywhere. If I create a content, I should be able to be accountable for the content. Actually, the origin source has to be traceable. That's a very important thing because we are talking about children, females, people, aged people coming into this platform openly and trying to interact with it. So fake content cannot be allowed onto metaverse platform. That's one thing. Another thing is it has to be low risk content. You cannot go with high risk content and have a problem of security in terms of delivery. So that is the sixth point. Actually, I looked at the process modeling. uh, we are talking about digital twin uh, uh, growing into a metaverse space and then having some kind of a business cycle created around it. We are talking about deployable content with a lot of KPIs going around it for different verticals and see that that's how we are going to run the business on a regular basis. It can be 24/7 kind of a business. I don't need to have a physical shop. It can be a digital shop, 3D space. People will come to the shop and buy your product and then go from there. There comes the issue of governance actually. In terms of governance, we are talking about three domains actually. One is public sector domain. Any service which I can deliver today as a e-service or a web service or a app, mobile app services, it can all come in into a metaverse kind of a platform. Recently, Boston Consulting has actually released the entire office facility in metaverse. That means I can go to a Boston Consulting office, talk to a receptionist or an officer or a salesman or anybody virtually, get whatever I need to get, understand how they are operating, everything virtually, and it can run for 24/7 without break. And I can deliver this content and change the content at any point of time. Unlike your Web3 content or the traditional web content, the metaverse content can be very, very immersive and it can be delivered at any point of time. So public sector is going to be looking at this platform delivery for a lot of the services. It can be healthcare services, it can be you know some kind of management services, parks, transportation, any security, policing, anything can be on a public sector domain and delivered it actually. And that's one area of domain we need to have some kind of a governance because we are talking about taking the private data, public information, and trying to deliver services which will provide KPIs, which will provide some amount of information into the platform, and then entire world is looking at the data, entire world is interacting with the data. They can also even enrich the content because the problem is we are slowly coming to an age where we are infusing uh, digital deep learning, AI, machine learning into metaverse. That means as you start interacting with the platform and as they start learning about your behavior, as they start learning about your own profiles and data, the system is going to be more and more intelligent actually. So public sector information whenever we deliver, we have to think in terms of the governance around it. Actually, if you don't have a proper governance framework, the system can crash at any point of time. The service can crash. Same goes with the business domain. Actually, if I am a company called Tata, or a company called Adani, or a company called anything else, ABCD company in India, start delivering it. As soon as you are in the metaverse platform, in the traditional web content delivery, it was almost like a one way talk. No, I have a material, I'm going to tell you this is the content, and whether you take it, whether you understand it, I doesn't care about. There was some amount of feedback loop available, very limited, but in metaverse we are going to have this feedback loop available, assisted with AI and machine learning. So business verticals, whenever we go into metaverse platform, we are talking about a very rich kind of data delivery. There has to be proper governance framework around it. Otherwise, business is probably going to be hit on that platform. Your physical operations will still continue to go. Your other physical platforms on web and other mobile applications will still continue to go through. But the metaverse space which we created for the customer to come on board and then start interacting with your business and create monetization, that line of activity will be affected very quickly actually. So that's one important part of the metaverse delivery for businesses. The citizen domain of the metaverse delivery is very important, because we are talking about engagement with the public and their feedback loop, their satisfaction rate, the kind of uh, the kind of experience they are getting. That will be something which we need to watch out. I'm going to quickly kind of wind up the discussion. uh, we are talking about supporting people who are having disability. Actually, using metaverse, we are able to deliver a content where they can interact and do something about it. uh, that kind of a delivery, we have to think in terms of, because we are talking about people who are challenged, physically challenged. How do they deliver? You need to have a proper maturity model, like a CMM kind of a maturity model in the enterprise delivery. That's how we can make sure that our content delivery platform on metaverse is probably able to do something which is mature enough. They are tested, they are trustable. Actually, that's part of it. How do we do that trust based delivery? You need to have this, certain focus areas. That's where we come in terms of inclusive content, whether we are talking about well-being of the customer, we are able to provide ethical content into that, and we are also talking about interoperability between the industry player. I'm just going to leave this particular slide and conclude my uh, slides from here. I will go into the question and answers after this. Basically, when we create any platform, especially this kind of rich data platform, we are talking about some amount of contribution to the growth and development of a country or a city or a state. Actually, without that kind of a vision, we may not go further. Actually, why we call it developing country, underdeveloped country, developed country? Because whenever we start looking at a particular industry, we never think in terms of how to grow our market, how to monetize the product line, and how to contribute towards the internal economy. Actually, so that has to be the main focus of this platform also. Many IT companies have failed because they are not talking about how to contribute to the internal infrastructure of India, or how to contribute towards the infrastructure of the our own cities or state. That kind of a vision is very, very important. I am a big believer of sustainable development goals which UN talk about. So that is one thing. The second one is, this is basically an information technology. We are talking about physical to digital transformation about every enterprise. How to make that journey capable, make the skill set available, how to make digital assets which are saleable on this platform, and connect with the customer on a continuous basis globally. So we are talking about a very globalized market. We have been talking about globalized market since several decades, but we never reached anywhere. Actually, India is still talking about 2047 as the most developed country in the world. But we could have done last year actually. We could have done it in 2020 or 2010. Why we couldn't do is because information technology, we never thought about how to link it to infrastructure development, how to link it to your states, countries development, how to link it to your own industries, healthcare, transportation. That's where the the viability of a product line or service line come in. We have a lot of things to catch up. When we say business to catch up, we have to think in terms of operations management. I want to emphasize this part continuously among my peers and the leadership. The thing is, I create something, I create a car. I am a physician, I am going to treat somebody. But as soon as I get my payment, my service is not over actually. In India, in many sectors, whether it is city development or road development or rail development, you think that once you deliver something, my job is over. No, sir. Your product life cycle is just beginning only. You have to make sure that your customer is able to interact with your product and services on a continuous basis, 24/7. Understand why they are not coming back. What is their problem? What is their challenge? How can we improve their service and product line? Without that kind of an operations management capability with metrics, when I say metrics, I want every kind of data possible on this platform or whatever digital platform come into my KPI dashboard on a daily basis, on an instant basis. If it can be real time IoT connected kind of a device based data collection, all the best. But in whatever frequency, if I can collect that KPI, bring it to my attention and make those changes and return it back to the customer, make sure that that customer problem is resolved on a regular basis. So I'm leaving this slide here. The entire metaverse management has to take these three parts of the metaverse platform. Without that, we may not become a leader in 2047 or even 3047. Thank you. Prem?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
A lengthy topic and a diverse topic that we discussed today. I think there's a lot of things that you have put in to the presentation today that we were able to understand. Would like to summarize some of the pointers that we had. We spoke about how the vision and strategy of metaverse can look at. We spoke about how the digital age is looking at, what kind of innovation and creativity can be brought, what are the trends that we had, and currently what are the challenges and solutions that we have also was discussed in the presentation. How customer experience can be different, where I think there was one pointer where we saw how a pipeline or a road has to look at. We can look at what happens or what is underlying the road that we are traveling, whether it's a pipeline or anything. That kind of a view can be brought in for this one customer experience. What is the future of work has been discussed, and also look at what kind of an ROI can be brought. What are the collaborations and partnerships that we had also was discussed. Some part of resilience and adaptability was discussed, and the regulatory also was put into the picture. How community and the future vision also can bring up metaverse to a larger extension for adaptability was discussed. Sir, one question that I have: how can leaders foster a sense of community and engage with the metaverse, sir, within metaverse? That's one question I have wanted your input on, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Prem. I think it's a wonderful community I'm interacting with. I see the attendance participants list. Wonderful
Okay.
community.
Hmm.
Thank you for arranging the session. In terms of the kind of vision and strategy for community, uh, every city or every community, whether it is a professional uh, community or whether it is a general citizen, whenever we talk about, they have an ecosystem.
Hmm.
Because there are people who are trying to mentor them, trying to train them and mentor them and then groom them and bring them productive. Then once you have that kind of a kind of a life cycle of a problem or an opportunity, We have to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that this metaverse can help them actually. It may not be able to help them every aspect of that community challenge, but
Mm-hmm.
some part of the community challenge, the metaverse can be very, very effective actually. So we
Okay.
need to identify the gap. The first thing is to identify the gap wherein
Mm.
this metaverse become the best fit use
Okay.
case. Once you
Okay.
identify the gap, we can talk about how to create the service and how to create productize the or productize the system and then deliver it actually.
Mm.
So it is well possible with metaverse for any
Okay.
particular community.
Sir, one last pointer that I would like to, we are on board about 2 minutes all on the show, but what advice would you give for future leaders who want to make significant impact on the metaverse?
Yeah, see, in terms of future scenario, I'm not an astrologer, but I'm being in the IT industry in different countries.
Okay.
What I have been in Singapore, I work across a lot of geographies and communities, diverse social circumstances. But from all the angle I'm listening is actually, if I need to be future oriented delivery from metaverse kind of a platform, you need to make sure that you understand the technology in the proper terms actually, because it's not a movie. I'm not
Yeah.
going to shoot with my camera then deliver it somewhere, and then I don't care whether I get a box office hit or I lose my money actually. This is
Okay.
going to be a very interactive, very immersive content. People
Mm.
with a Apple Vision, Google, or maybe Indian on the spectacles, whatever mechanism you have it, you are able to immerse into the content and do that. So
Okay.
there are underlying technologies behind it, and the possibility of integrating the data, your own business enterprise data, cloud-based data, social media data, government data, any kind of information we are able to infuse and put it into the metaverse again. So there are risk involved in it. There are challenges involved in it. If you don't understand this technology, the future is probably will not be the way you want to. The reason why I am saying is I happen to see recently metaverse studios in Delhi and Bombay and things like that. Interestingly, I looked at what they're delivering and how they're delivering it and things like that. It's basically it's like a movie theater or a game stall. I can go inside and then experience for 10 minutes and 15 minutes, pay him a few hundred rupees, and then go back home actually. So it's like a
Kind of
movie theater.
experience centers. That's
It's an
all.
experience center, but
Okay.
this is where the problem is actually. You are thinking in terms of giving somebody a car,
Hmm.
a high priced car, very costly car, into the guy in Pune who go and crash their I don't want to name the car and things like that, but they go and crash it on top of two people actually. This is what is going to happen if I go into this kind of metaverse studios kind of thing. I experience something, I get very enthusiastic, but then I become an addict.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who become addict to video games already. Children who
Yeah.
are supposed to
Yeah.
study in school, they they are now losing their credits mark. They are failing in the classes. Now UK have banned mobile phone in the schools.
Okay.
This is the kind of problems in India we are going to face it. We talk about future vision for companies to create products and product line and then go into a futuristic kind of a scenario. You need to think in terms of the technology and the risk involved in it. Then businesses cannot be sustainable if you don't make money.
Hmm.
You also have to think in terms of what is your vision, what is the kind of bottom line you are talking about. Is it 20 percentage margin out of every metaverse space I create and deliver, or is it 10 percentage margin I am talking about? You need to think in terms of businesses who are coming into this space, what level of investment you are ready to take risk for actually. Where is the money going to come? Where is the customer going to pay? Who is your customer? Is it an exportable uh, product line which I am going to create? So in the early part of adaptation, I had a hype curve in my slide. Uh, we are at the very beginning. We are trying to create the customer. Actually, we are not even there to make money. Nobody have made money on metaverse. Absolutely no. But we are able to trying to create a customer, whether it is a medical customer or an automobile customer, whether it is in universities. We are thinking in terms how to create a customer. There is a lot of journey this industry has to go forward. So the vision has to be in terms of how do we how do we think in terms of future and create a viable business model around it. Actually, if we can a company cannot take that kind of a long term path and a vision, they may not be successful. Actually, that's my answer.
Yeah. Sir, thank you for that, sir. It's been a great session. We are over by about 7 minutes on the session today, but
Oh, good.
amazing session. And I definitely understand that this topic is not a small topic. There are a lot of things that we have discussed, and this, whatever the content that you have covered in this session, is very huge, sir. Thank you for making up that kind of a presentation that could cover that kind of environments, the kind of industries that it touched up. Very, very useful, sir. I will check with sir if that presentation can be shareable to everybody. Is that a presentation
Um,
that can be shared on the public platform, sir? Or
I probably will not do that at this point of
okay,
time because, yeah,
sure.
because of
Yeah.
several reasons. Actually.
Sure, sir. Yeah, with that, I think we are. Thank you for being here, sir. With that, we would like to conclude our session for the day. We are live on LinkedIn and we stream it across YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We can have this recording viewed at a later point on YouTube at YouTube at youtube.com at Power of Knowing Forum. The video is available there. And thank you, sir. It's been a great pleasure having you on the session, sir. Thank you for taking the time around.
Yeah, appreciate. I
Yeah,
think it's a very important discussion I am having. It's probably that I may not be learning anything from the discussion, but I want to make sure that it is communicated properly to the people who are interested in the topic, and
sure.
we take a more calculated approach towards adopting this technology. There is risk
Yes,
involved in it, but there is also opportunities
opportunity
involved in it.
involved.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. Taking your point, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prem. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, good day, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.